Mr. Speaker, there's something fishy about the Whitefish Energy deal that was reported in the Washington Post. Whitefish, based in Whitefish, Montana, was awarded a $300 million contract to repair and replace the electrical grid in Puerto Rico. We learned that the company is 2 years old and, as of about 6 weeks ago, had just 2 employees. It does not have a track record of working on massive projects, certainly not one as massive as rebuilding the power grid in Puerto Rico after a once-in-a-century storm like Hurricane Maria. The Puerto Rican Electrical Authority did not solicit bids for this contract. They did not do what most power utilities do under these circumstances, which is rely on mutual assistance relationships with other power companies in Florida, Texas, and Illinois for that matter. After a big storm, power companies from around the country send linemen and other workers to assist the local company. And that's not happening here. The Florida Power Company brought in 20,000 workers after Irma and apparently was willing to send workers to Puerto Rico and help. But the request for help never came. So what's going on here? A tiny company that does not have a track record gets one of the biggest contracts to help rebuild Puerto Rico in a no-bid, out-of-the-ordinary contracting procedure. That's why I wrote yesterday to the Attorney General Jeff Sessions and FBI Director Christopher Wray, because I want them to investigate this deal, how it was awarded, why this company got the contract, and whether there is any evidence of it being a sweetheart, corrupt deal to boost business allies and political allies of the president and members of his cabinet. I also plan to bring this issue up to the oversight committees in this body. On the surface, the Whitefish deal looks fishy, but when you look a little deeper, the Whitefish deal looks corrupt. Whitefish Energy is based in Whitefish, Montana. Guess what? That's the hometown of Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke, who used to represent Montana in this body. His son even worked for the company. The chief executive of Whitefish, Andy Tekmansky, knows Secretary Zinke, but as a spokesperson for the Interior Department said yesterday in Whitefish, quote, everybody knows everybody. Guess what? That doesn't make me feel any better about the deal. Go a little deeper and you find out that Whitefish is financed by HBC Investments, which is a private equity firm founded by Joe Calaneta, who holds the title of general partner. The Daily Beast reported that Calaneta gave $20,000 to the Trump Victory PAC, maxed out to contributions to Trump for his presidential campaign in the primaries and general elections, about $32,000, then another $30,000 that he gave to the Republican National Committee. Kimberly Calaneta, his wife, was also a maximum donor, meaning she gave the maximum allowed during the law during the 2016 election to Trump and his various committees. Now, please look here. And the pictures are right off of the internet. Certainly add additional evidence to the idea that Whitefish and the Calanetas are pretty chummy with our president and his cabinet. Right here is Mr. Calaneta with the President of the United States, the 2 Calanetas at the inauguration, and a picture of Mrs. Calaneta with Ben Carson, one of the president's cabinet members. Don't forget, all you kids out there watching on home on C-SPAN, what you post on Facebook stays there forever. Now, I know that not everything that looks corruption is in fact corruption. Sometimes what looks fishy on the surface turns out to be legit. But most of the time, you know what? It turns out to be corruption. And the reason this matters so much is that without electricity, we can't get water restored to the people of Puerto Rico. Water doesn't flow uphill without pumps, and those pumps need power. You cannot live without water. You die. Dialysis machines, electrical wheelchairs, refrigeration for baby formula, insulin for diabetics, chemotherapy for those with cancer, all require electricity. It is a matter of life and death. I was just there and saw the suffering of the people in the villages and towns across the island of Puerto Rico. Without electricity, we cannot get Puerto Ricans back to work, rebuilding their island and beginning to end the suffering. Look, the last thing we need right now, the last thing the people of Puerto Rico need right now is a fat cat lining his pockets with money because they're well connected. That money should be saving lives, not ending them. That's why I demand the FBI and the Attorney General investigate.